Now at 8, watching and waiting. Some strong storms are headed our way. When they're expected to hit your area.
Police investigating after a report of shots fired overnight in Roxbury. We're live with the very latest this morning.
And the road to recovery for First Lady Melania Trump, the surgery that will likely keep her hospitalized through the week.
And are you ready for a repeat? The Celtics hoping to make it 2 straight tonight at home against the Cavs.
This is 7 News Today in New England.
Should shape up to be a pretty good game tonight, right?
Let's go Celtics.
Well, hopefully your Tuesday morning is getting off to a great start as we take a live look outside. It's a little foggy out there, a little gloomy, but hey, that's okay.
Yeah, the sun is sort of fighting its way through that fog, and hopefully it's gonna start shining here soon. We want to get over to our meteorologist Chris Lambert with the latest. We have some sunshine, but also some storms later.
Yeah, summertime feel to the air, summertime storms this afternoon. That sunshine will win out for a few hours here and already warming us up to 67 in Lawrence, 60 degrees in the city of Boston, mid-60s widespread to the north and to the west. Taking a look at the satellite and radar composite, you notice south and east of Buffalo, New York, already beginning to track some thunderstorms out there. 1 or 2 of them may be present right around midday with us, so I can't completely rule one out here. You know, noontime, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that's going to be isolated. The main event coming in here between 3 and 8 p.m., and that's going to be a line of storms that will be capable of producing some damaging wind gusts, some heavy rain, as well as frequent lightning. So all eyes to the sky this afternoon, mid to late afternoon, as we track these storms working on through southern New England. It's going to be a warm day, too. Temperatures running into the lower 80s, so no question we have the warmth and humidity to fuel these storms, guys.
Chris, thank you. And new this morning, police are investigating after a teen is shot overnight in Roxbury. 7's Victoria Warren is live now with the very latest on the investigation.
Good morning. We are outside of Boston Police Headquarters where they continue investigating this shooting, releasing new information this morning. Some video from last night. This shooting happened around 10:30 last night in Roxbury at Interval and Fernborough. And what we have learned from the Boston Police Department is that a 19-year-old was shot. That 19-year-old was rushed to the hospital, but police say the injuries are not considered life-threatening. There were also several vehicles shot at in the area. So we've got multiple gunshots that broke out. Police are speaking with witnesses and gathering evidence. But again, this investigation continues. We do know that 19-year-old is expected to survive. We're trying to get an update from police to find out if they've made any arrests related to this shooting. Live this morning in Roxbury, Victoria Warren, 7 News Today, New England.
All right, Vicki, and it is a story you saw first on 7. A Boston firefighter is off the job this morning, accused of raping a child. 38-year-old Samuel Perez pleaded not guilty to the charges. Authorities say the victim is between 12 and 16 years old and knew Perez. The alleged abuse happened for several years in South Boston. Perez is on paid administrative leave right now, and firefighters in Oxford, they are trying to figure out what caused a home to go up in flames there. Fire tore through this home on Wells Street near the Leicestertown line Monday afternoon. No injuries were reported.
And 7 News now to the Middle East, where they're bracing for another day of violence in the wake of the U.S. opening its new embassy in Jerusalem. Yesterday's ceremony sparking the deadliest day along the Gaza border since 2014. 7's Matt Rascone is here in the newsroom with more on the protests. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Maka. The U.S. Embassy opening ceremony seems to have only intensified those protests that killed 59 people yesterday. But it comes after weeks of protests in Gaza that have led to this day, a day of mourning for Palestinians, 70 years after they say their lands were taken from them. More violence expected at the Gaza border as Palestinians mark what they consider the day of catastrophe in memory of their people who fled their homes when the Israeli state was created in 1948. Dozens were killed and thousands more injured in clashes Monday on what is now the deadliest day here since the 2014 Gaza war. A sharp contrast to this scene over the border. It was an historic moment in Israel at the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem.
Remember this moment.
Congress passed a law in 1995 requiring the move, but every president since has put it off, citing national security concerns.
For many years, we failed to acknowledge the obvious, the plain reality that Israel's capital is Jerusalem.
Those provoking violence are part of the problem and not part of the solution.
But critics say it's only fueled weeks of protests in Gaza. The Arab world condemns the U.S. decision to take Israel's side in the dispute over Jerusalem, which is home to holy sites of Jews, Christians, and Muslims.
We have Palestinian lands that were stolen in 1948, and we are here to reclaim these lands by any method.
This is the life of the Palestinian people, and those who think that opening the embassy open doors to peace, let them look at what is really happening in the Gaza Strip.
The U.S. and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are standing by Israel's right to defend its border. But many in the international community are condemning the deaths and urging Israeli forces to exercise restraint at the Gaza border. Matt Rascone, 7 News, Today New England.
First Lady Melania Trump is resting and recovering this morning after having successful kidney surgery. The First Lady had a procedure on Monday to treat a benign kidney condition. Her office says there were no complications, and she looks forward to a full recovery. President Trump visited the First Lady at Walter Reed following the surgery. Vice President Mike Pence says he hopes she gets well soon.
And I know I speak for people everywhere when I say Mrs. Trump is on our hearts. We're praying for her speedy and full recovery and look forward to her returning to her work, making a difference in the lives of our nation's children.
And the White House says the First Lady will likely stay in the hospital for the rest of the week.
And the Celtics are still chasing the championship, and it will be all about limiting LeBron tonight in Game 2. King James was held to just 15 points in the Celtics' Game 1 win on Sunday, and they know that a repeat performance will go a long way toward another victory in their Eastern Conference final. 7's John Coco is live at the TD Garden with more looking ahead. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Amaka. The Celtics got a big Game 1 blowout win against the Cavs tonight. They're going to try to do it again right here in Boston.
Brown the crossover, Brown the drive, and the finish. Timeout Cavaliers.
Despite rolling to a 25-point win and a 1-0 series lead, when Brad Stevens flipped on the game film, there was room for improvement.
Terry, how much better defensively can you guys really get?
Well, according to Brad, we can get a lot better.
The Cavs plan on answering with a new starting five, bringing in big man Tristan Thompson. But as it usually does, it all comes down to number 23 being on the floor. Brad Stevens knows that's the real challenge for his team.
I'm guessing he'll be a part of that lineup. So, our focus and emphases will remain the same.
After watching LeBron held to 15 points on 5 of 16 shooting, his teammates are expecting a huge response from him in Game 2.
I expect him to have a big response. He's always done it. Even before he came back to Cleveland, since I've been here, he's always responded big.
And so Game 2 tips off at 8:30 later tonight. We're live at the Garden. John Coco, 7 News, Today New England.
John, thank you. And the news station has you covered as the Celtics continue to chase the championship. Just go to WHDH.com or our 7 News mobile app to stay connected to the C's on the go. And this just into the newsroom this morning. Police are searching for a missing child in Lawrence. He is 12 years old. Investigators say he was last seen wearing a blue hoodie, gray shorts, and Adidas sneakers. They also say that the boy was known to hang out in the Arlington district. We've reached out to police for more information about this missing 12-year-old. If you have any information or you know where he is, please contact Lawrence Police.
Now to the royal wedding, where a potential royal pain could be coming. The father of the bride says he won't be there. Meghan Markle's father tells TMZ it's all over the staging of photos of him getting ready for the big day, and he now says he regrets taking those pictures. He says he wants to avoid further embarrassment for the royal family and his daughter. And despite that curveball, the royal couple will still be walking down the aisle on Saturday, and there's soaring speculation over what the bride will be wearing. Riley Carlson has more now from London this morning.
I personally love this dress, and I'd love to see her wearing something like this.
It's the talk not just of the town, but the entire world.
What's she going to wear? What's it going to be? Who's she going to wear? And there's such speculation.
Will Meghan Markle push the envelope when it comes to her dress for the big day?
She's bringing a little bit more edge. You know, she's bringing our more laid-back American values and edge to her fashion.
The royal couple already broke with tradition when they ordered their cake. A fruitcake is traditional in the UK, but Meghan and Harry decided on elderflower and lemon instead, to be made by Californian Claire Patak, a friend of the bride-to-be. But one very British wedding tradition that everyone will notice, the invitation specifically requests that guests wear hats.
It's something that often the rest of the world really don't understand.
From actors to royals, Vivian Sheriff has been topping off celebrity outfits for over a decade. There's a hat for every style and every personality, but Sheriff says there's one more thing to keep in mind.
The British wedding is also about being understated, so one has to be elegant, but not too show-offy.
After all, they'll be the most talked about fashion item of the day, until, of course, we see the dress.
So guests will have been very busy trying to find those perfect hats. You can pick them up for just a couple of bucks, but the ones you'll see on Saturday will likely cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Reporting in Windsor, Riley Carlson, 7 News, Today, New England.
And the soon-to-be-married royal couple are soon-to-be stars in a comic book. Check this out. Tidal Wave Comics is releasing the royals Prince Harry and Meghan Markle this week. The company releasing a 26-page comic along with a 40-page graphic novel and a wedding edition with a commemorative cover. Pretty cool there. Stay with 7 News leading up to the royal wedding. 7's Kim Casey will have live reports leading up to the big day only on the news station.
The excitement's building.
I'm sure they're going to be so nervous with so many people watching every move.
Can you imagine the pressure? But I'm sure it will go off without a hitch. And there's still more to come as Today in New England continues this morning. A community rallying around this little girl in Whitman, what their support means for the girl and her family.
A former worker at Logan Airport making some alarming allegations why she claims that she was fired unfairly.
And a Quincy daycare reopening after a health scare, but not everyone is returning. We'll explain.
On the Pike, if you're heading west, you can already see it starting to form up here. I'll tell you why that's happening after the break. Stay with us.
Tonight, he was driving along when
a big boom, my tire instantly blew out.
Her windshield suddenly shattered.
And it just came flying diagonally.
And reveals what's turned some highways into a hazard.
Fix it before someone dies.
7 investigates tonight at 9 and 10.
Welcome back. 8:14 right now. Virginia seeing some strong storms. Look at this. Heavy rain and whipping winds hitting the state yesterday. The storm causing power outages for a number of people there, and the power issues forced some schools there to close.
I know there's a lot of bad weather across the whole eastern coast, and as we take a live look outside, I think it's headed our way because it's got some clouds. It's not looking too nice out there right now.
You know, the warmer temperatures they feel nice, they're great, but they can also bring on those showers and thunderstorms. And Chris, we kind of have a wild day of weather ahead of us.
Yeah, very summery out there. And then you add in that cold front that's going to come crashing on through and plenty of instability. And we will track our own storms. And there may be some locations in New England that look like Virginia did yesterday with those strong straight line winds and heavy rain. 60 in Boston right now, dew point of 58. Partial sunshine in the city, trying to get on through. We've had more success getting the sun north and west of Boston so far this morning. That's where temperatures so far are the warmest. Bedford, 64 degrees. Lawrence at 67, and notably cooler down through Buzzards Bay, the Cape and the Islands, where we've had some low clouds and areas of fog. Dew point levels running in the low 60s to the south and west of us. This is the humidity that's going to work in. So not only will it be warm, it'll also be muggy later on this afternoon as we increase the humidity across the area. Not much going on right now in New England in terms of storms, but you notice just east of Buffalo, New York, there are a few thunderstorms that are getting going here. And it's not out of the question that right around lunchtime, 1 or 2 of those storms will work into northern Mass or up into southern New Hampshire. But I think the main action, the main theme here is going to have widespread storms develop later in the day. So there's your isolated one right around noontime coming on through. Look at the temperatures this afternoon by 3 o'clock, low to mid 80s, widespread. There's the warmth. Add in the humidity. That is the fuel for these thunderstorms that are coming on through here. And by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, northern Worcester County, southwestern New Hampshire, some potent storms likely get going. And then from thereafter through about 7 or 8 p.m., we track this line and these clusters of storms that will drop some gusty winds as well as heavy rain. And the best chance for some damaging wind gusts will be north and west of Boston, especially out through central Mass, western Mass, back into Connecticut. But even at the coastline, I wouldn't rule out a strong storm or two later on this afternoon into this evening. We clear it out late overnight tonight and quiet it down. And even though we start off in the mid-50s tomorrow, first thing in the morning, temperatures hardly going anywhere in the afternoon. We're mid-50s at the coast, low 60s inland. So this front does mean business, as it will cool us off quite a bit. As we see temperatures tomorrow, a good 20 to 30 degrees cooler than what we have this afternoon. Big area of moisture is going up the East Coast, likely into New England by Friday evening into Saturday. So it will be unsettled at time with the potential of some localized downpour. So we'll keep an eye on that to end the week and go into the weekend. In the meantime, we'll focus on this afternoon into the early evening hours for that thunder threat out there as we go through the course of the day. Fenway Park, some storms tapering off at 7 p.m. So there may be a delay out there, but we should get the game in tonight. There's your roller coaster ride temperature-wise. Down to near 60 tomorrow, back to near 80 on Thursday, guys.
Well, time now for a check-in on Drive to Work on this Tuesday. Elena, how are we looking on the roadways?
Hey, Kiki, good morning. Not so good. If you're taking the Pike westbound, there's a growing delay, and that is due to a crash. That's just before 128. So if you're headed west on the Pike, it's going to take you a little bit longer than you may expect this morning. That crash is again, just before 128 rather. There's another crash on the expressway that's in the northbound lane. This one right at the exit to Granite Ave, so already busy in that northbound lane, just going to get busier too. One more issue up north in Andover. This is a crash on 93 southbound just before 495. There's a small delay leading into that, as well as a small delay on 495 leading up toward 93. Your drive time at the moment will be about 35 minutes on the expressway, 22 on the Pike, that's eastbound after 128, 33 on 93. If you're taking the T, we have a 10-minute delay on the Green Line C branch.
Elena, thank you. Also on 7, construction concerns prompting a family to take their project plans to town officials in Whitman. They want to build a handicapped accessible addition on their home for their young daughter, but neighbors complained about the proposed project.
And last night, dozens of supporters went with the family to town hall, and Chris Henderson is here with more on their show of support. Chris.
It seems like cooler heads prevailed here. Residents at the meeting passed out signs reading #I'mWithShelby. It's a little girl's name, and they cheered alongside her family members when the complaint against that project was dropped.
An eruption of cheers and applause, followed by an emotional hug between Dan and Nicole Feeney.
We just want to thank everybody that has either come out or just supported us in any way.
To know that we can just go through this and finish the project just means a lot.
The couple had been fighting to build this handicapped accessible addition to their home for their 4-year-old daughter, Shelby. She has a rare condition called Charge syndrome. She's unable to walk on her own, has extremely low sight and hearing, and has already had close to 30 surgeries, including 2 open heart surgeries.
Even though she has all these challenges, it doesn't stop her from just loving and just being awesome.
The family was approved for a building permit in January, but in March, the Feeney family received a knock on the door.
It was awkward when she came over.
A next-door neighbor was officially protesting the project. The Feeneys say the neighbor told them the addition lowered the neighbor's property value. The family had been fighting the appeal since, but with the extreme amount of support for Shelby, the neighbors dropped their opposition just hours before the hearing, and the zoning board affirming that they are with Shelby.
You just know love better when you know Shelby.
Now, the Feeney's attorney tells 7 News that they were told the neighbors do not plan to go to court over this issue. Back over to you.
All right, Chris, thank you. And coming up next on the news station, a disturbing discovery prompting an investigation in Barrie. What officials found at a high school softball field.
And passenger panic on board a Southwest Airlines flight. Why the plane was forced to land.